Hello, friends, and welcome to the Noclip podcast, episode 64. Man, we are rounding the corner. We're almost in Sexy Town. Jesse Grasha, how you doing?
Howdy,
Speaking
gamers.
of Sexy Town.
Oh, I'm the mayor. You already know.
All right, and we're now talking to the treasurer of Sexy Town, Frank Howley.
Hi, the books are looking good. Everything is great.
Awesome, cool. We're up on hand. Nope, not going to go there. Jeremy Jane, you are the what? You can pick whatever state administrative job you want here in Sexy Town. It's up to you.
I want to be the secretary.
My secretary, or just a general all-purpose one that anyone can use?
Constantly embroiled in scandals and ready for public service.
Oh, you'd be great in the regular U.S. politics system. You'd be great. You'd be in the Senate.
Thank you.
You'd kill it.
Thank you.
Nice.
See, I appreciate that a lot.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna be the fireman of Sexy Town.
Woo!
I was thinking of policeman, but that seemed a little bit too kinky. I'll go fireman, so I'm there to douse the flames if things get too hot.
Oh, the fireman of Sexy Town is constantly getting injuries because he's like not wearing the jacket and there's a fire. But we constantly are like, Danny, no, it's for there's a utilitarian purpose for the jacket. You're like,
Oh, he's got to be sexy. I can't.
The music starts and you're like taking it off, swinging it around.
Yeah, these aren't real fireproof pants because they have pull-offs on them. So I gotta like
It's Velcros. This isn't very useful, huh?
Were any of you? I'm the oldest here, but only by not too much. Were any of you? And also, I grew up in a different country, so this might not land at all. Did you guys have rip-offs at all in school?
Oh, hell yeah!
Yeah.
Yeah.
The like tracksuit pants with buttons on them, or maybe those Velcro ones.
Yeah, all the basketball players had them.
Yeah. I had those in elementary school.
Oh, you're in primary school. Yeah, I guess I was in primary school too when that happened. Yeah. That was a real one summer thing, right?
Yeah, it didn't last because if they were unbuttoned, it would take you like 20 minutes to to rebuild your pants.
See, but that was okay for the basketball players in elementary school for me, because like that was how you'd play, right? You'd wear pants during school and then you'd take them off for lunch, but you got your shorts underneath, so you don't want to actually change. You just rip your pants off. You're ready to ball whenever you need to. Ready to ball with my bros.
I think as a style thing, I think I had a friend who wore those. He would wear one pant leg and one just as shorts. So it'd be and that was just a style.
Damn, dude.
Oh wait, so your ones popped off so there was a short. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, the ones I had and the ones we had were like sort of Lecoq Sportif ones, which they had like buttons the whole way up. But they wouldn't come off. You couldn't detach any of the pant. So it was just you were kind of just had like a sort of a flailing, like you had some sort of like wrestlers, flailing pant going on. I don't actually know what the utility was of them at all.
I am not sure either. I can't imagine a more dangerous garment fresh out of the dryer though.
Fuck.
So much metal on that thing. Yeah. Like all up and down the leg. Yeah.
Hot buttons. No thanks.
I wonder if there was like kids getting caught in like escalators or something. There was some like or door buses or they're getting dragged along the road.
And MRI machines, they're just like their legs are just getting ripped off because there's so many buttons.
Man, those things were a hot mess. And anyway, we're not here to talk about 90s fashion, at least not all the time. We're going to talk about some stuff. We're going to talk about... I can't believe... Jesse, you just snuck that in last second.
Yeah, come on. We have to talk about it. It's hilarious.
The only thing I don't want to talk about today is the stupid slap. The slap heard around the world.
Oh, God.
We got to talk about PlayStation Plus. We got to talk about Zelda getting delayed, just dropped today. There's a bunch of games that are coming out and that we've all been playing, NORCO and Tunic and all that sort of stuff. So I get, okay. Who wants to talk about the slap heard around the world? Will Smith just having enough and walking up on stage and whopping, canceling a comedian.
Yeah, with his fist. That's the best way to do it. I'm tired of people calling him out on Twitter.
Palm.
Yeah, come on.
His palm.
He physically canceled him.
It's not a punch.
Yeah.
You're right. It's a physical cancellation. They should have written cancel on his hand as he slapped it onto his face.
Yeah, backwards.
Yeah,
So when it landed,
He didn't even pimp slap him. What's the point? What are you doing?
Oh, wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
The slap was like, he definitely had form.
Yeah.
Like when you learn to punch, it's all about like using the rest of your body. Like it's not your arm, it's like your back and your shoulder.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly, Frank. You turn with it. You know, and hooks are really good because you're turning your body and you're planting your foot. And he kind of did that with the slap. He his whole shoulders turned. I guess they all get like fight training and stuff, right?
Yeah, he had a real UFC form. The freeze frame is like the mark of a true professional.
Seriously.
He's straight across the shoulders, you know, like planting his feet. It's looking good, man. He's looking for a home run there.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're on Suicide Squad. You learn how to slap real good, I guess, right? The Slapper Squad. It's the new show.
Career Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Whoa, hey.
The one interesting thing, like, because like I feel like there's been so much discourse over the last few days, but one interesting metric was they announced like Chris Rock's ticket sales like skyrocketed because he's about to do a world tour, and they said like, like the Ticketmaster site was like, we sold more tickets that evening than we have for the entire past month combined. So yeah, I'm eager to see how Chris Rock comes out of it, because like I really like Chris Rock. I like all of his specials. I thought I did a great job with everything, and like everything will be patched up. Will Smith already issued an apology, but there's gonna be even more jokes about it. So it's like, all right, I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah. Hopefully he's like, I wonder if he like. There's that whole problem when you have that like little bit of a window into maybe a crowd that. I'm not saying that all the people who bought tickets are like anyway inclined, but you know, you can kind of lean into it like Chappelle's done, or you can, you know, maybe balk at it a bit. And like, I wonder, he probably, I bet he just wants to put up behind him. He probably didn't write the joke.
Yeah,
no, he didn't. It was the writers. Like someone did a bunch of research, and it was the writers that ended up writing that specific joke, which is even funnier.
Yeah, I mean, those things, they often don't write them, or they come in and they because they'll know who's, it's a whole production thing, so they'll have like plenty of writers for that type of thing. I mean, you do like, YouTube, like the World of H Bomber guy, he's got like writers on that one as well.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You kind of need that type of support network. But there you go. Don't fuck with Gemini Man, I guess.
Keep making the memes though. I do want more memes. I want more JoJo memes.
I'm
no, they're funny.
I feel terrible that we even brought this up, because it's like we're just like part of the problem.
I guess I've avoided the takes, so it doesn't bother me that much talking about it. I've missed all the real nonsense on Twitter, although I did check like 20 minutes before we hopped on here. Some real shit. People need to shut up.
Yeah, people need to shut up.
Yeah, including us.
So we will too. Exactly. Go check out Gemini Man in theaters now. Will Smith has a lot. I'd say one last thing. Will Smith has like, is it? I'm trying to think of a Oscar winning, because now he has won an Oscar for best male in a.
Didn't he get that before for Ali?
I don't know, but I'm trying to think of another actor who's won that, who has such an impressive repertoire of shite movies. Like, he's been in some really good movies, and he's done some really good performances, but he's also been in some real trash.
Jared Leto is like the one actor who's like almost never done anything good. Like, he's had really small good bit parts, like in American Psycho and Fight Club and like Panic Room. Everything else has been
Requiem for a Dream.
Oh yeah, sorry, no. That's his
performance.
like he started out strong in early 2000s. Everything he was in was awesome, and then like 20 years later, as he gets bigger roles, it's just been like train wrecks, but they're great. Like, I loved House of Gucci because it's so campy.
I've not seen it.
It's so ridiculous. Jared Leto is basically playing Luigi. Like it's like everyone in them.
They all have like terrible Italian accents.
Yeah. It's that. It's like, the Mama Gucci, Papa Gucci, Fata Gucci. It's just like, this is crazy.
Never confuse shit with chocolato. They may look the same, but the taste very different. Trust me.
He had a run where he was wearing a lot of old man makeup.
Yeah.
Because he had that in Was he? No, he was young in Blade Runner, was he?
Yeah, he had like, I forget. Yeah, and Blade Runner had crazy prosthetics, like,
he had the
eyes and everything.
lenses and stuff too.
Oh, yeah.
He did like an indie film in 2006 where he drank gallons of ice cream just so he could gain like 300 pounds. Like, he'll do radical transformations for movies nobody likes.
Yeah,
but like,
he was in a movie where he played like 15 versions of himself. He was an old man. Was it
number 20
person one?
Oh, I know what you're thinking
it was
of.
something like that.
Yeah. It was like
That's always awesome when someone does like a bunch of body transformations for a movie that's like 7 out of 10. Like The Machinist with Christian Bale. Christian Bale's like, he's like, I ate an apple and that was it every day for like 6 years, and then it's just like, this movie's okay. I mean, you didn't really need to do that, dude.
Yeah.
By the start of filming, he was subsisting on less than 500 calories a day. often reported to eat nothing more than a single can of tuna and 1 apple.
It was grim. That movie's a grim ass movie.
That movie's dark, yeah.
It's so dark, yeah. It was a good, like...
It's so dark I've erased it from my memory.
Yeah, it's just... And then he bulked up immediately afterwards, right? For
Batman, yeah, it was like right after.
that,
yeah. But Machinist does have like a good Silent Hill vibe where everything is like just like ugly. Like it's an ugly ass movie.
Yeah, it's filthy. It's like you go on a shower after you watched it. It's really like greasy and dark and
yeah. Every time I watch it, I just have to eat an apple and that's it for the day.
That's it. An apple a day keeps the Oscars away. Has he won one?
Christian Bale,
surely.
I think for the Fighter, I think he won Best Supporting for the Fighter. That was another where Christian Bale.
Oh right,
he lost a ton of weight, so he'd play like a junkie coach, and he's really great in it. I think that's what he won it for.
And the Oscar goes to Christian Bale, The Fighter.
Bloody hell.
Is that Mark Wahlberg or the main guy in that? Is that right?
It's a pretty good movie.
Man. Yeah, that wasn't but terrible.
Is The Fighter a Boston movie?
Yep.
Do I need to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to see this so I can either embrace.
Yeah.
I need to either embrace it as part of my cultural heritage or reject it as cultural appropriation of my Bostonian heritage.
You gotta watch it with The Town.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
and Good Will Hunting.
The Town is such a funny movie because they like, if you've ever been to Boston, the geography of, I mean, this is probably any movie with any chase sequence, but they'll be like, we gotta get out of here. And then they'll like turn the corner and they're like 60 miles on the other side of Massachusetts. It's so funny.
And plenty of Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Gotta keep dunking. Shall we talk about PlayStation Plus? Did this get announced? I feel like this has been leaked and announced and over-announced for weeks and months and forever, but was it today or yesterday this came out?
I think it was this morning.
Yeah, the official news came out this morning.
Jess, you wrote these down. You wanna break this down?
Sure.
The new PlayStation Plus?
Yeah, you ever heard of Xbox Game Pass?
Sure have.
It's what if Sony did that? Sort of. So it's PlayStation Plus is now split into 3 different tiers. So there's the Essential tier, which is the same as PlayStation Plus now, $9.99 a month. You get to play video games online with your friends, except for the free-to-play ones. I've never understood that model. Doesn't make any sense to me. And I think they're folding PlayStation Plus into that. PlayStation Now into that at some point. But that's only for the Asian markets at the moment.
PlayStation Now being the one where you can stream a bunch of
stream a bunch of PS3 games. Exactly. But you can also still download games from PlayStation Now. That there's the next tier, which is Extra, which is going to be called PlayStation Plus Extra. That's why you don't put plus on something that you want to add stuff to in the future.
It's a bit rough.
Long name. It's like the iPhone 13 Pro Max Ultra Plus 1. But yeah, so this is the same as the Essential tier where you get, classic PlayStation Plus, but now you're getting the Game Pass style downloads of PS4 and PS5 games. And then there's Premium, which is you're going to be streaming PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 1 games. You can download PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and PSP games. And there's going to be like limited time game trials. It's $9.99 a month for the Essential, $14.99 a month for Extra, and then $17.99 a month for Premium. But you save some money if you get annual. Yeah. The big thing though, I think a lot of people are talking about, which I think is an interesting position because I don't agree with it, is the problem, big quotation marks around that, of it not launching with PlayStation exclusives day one. Like,
as in that PlayStation exclusives on their day one don't go on this service.
Exactly.
Right.
So you're not going to play God of War Ragnarok on PlayStation Plus Premium day one, which I've seen complaints about. I don't really agree with that as a problem, but I mean, we're already paying monthly for PlayStation Plus anyway, so I don't know.
How much is Game Pass? Game Pass is like,
I think 15
if you
a
get
month?
Ultimate, it's like 15, right? Or is it 20?
Do you need Ultimate to get the day one stuff that they have?
No, you can do
Base
the basic
Game Pass.
one.
Yeah.
So how much is the basic one?
I think 10.
$10
something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can see the argument for one that's almost twice as much not having it. I think I'm not surprised because Sony has always been very, the reason they sell consoles, it seems to be, has always been on the back of their first party exclusive stuff, right? Yeah. And obviously Microsoft is kind of like new to this in many ways because they've just spent the past 3 years acquiring a bunch of studios. They didn't necessarily have they didn't have as strong exclusives, you could argue. Obviously it's all subjective, for the longest time. So it always seemed like when they started doing that they were setting an unrealistic expectation for PlayStation fans, that just it wouldn't work the same way for PlayStation fans because it's so important, that prestige console thing that Sony's basically done since the PlayStation 1 essentially. it kind of doesn't work the same way as the Microsoft one has always been about access and all games everywhere and we're the center of your home and all this sort of stuff. It's like a whole different ethos. But you can kind of see it, like $17.99 is a lot of money a month.
Oh, no, totally.
Playing PSP games.
Hey, you could play Persona 4 Golden maybe? Could get Vita games on there, and then it'll be worth $17.99. Yeah, I agree with you that it's like, it's too much money. I mean, all of these services are kind of pricey. Xbox's position, I think, like I've been playing a lot of Game Pass games over the last few weeks, and that's a great incentive to get people into playing a lot of indie games and stuff. I think this back catalog is weird. It is. It really is a steal. Like I feel like I'm stealing from these developers. They're not eating because I'm taking their money by playing games on Game Pass. But at the same time, it's like, I think my issue is Sony is very unwilling to like bring their retro catalog forward, or it's been that way for a little while. So to do it on a stream, on a subscription service feels a little weird, where Microsoft's position has been, you want to play an Xbox 360 game on your Series X, go ahead. I don't know why, but here you go. We've supported it. I don't know.
It's probably worth mentioning there are significant architecture obstacles that PlayStation has that Microsoft
for sure
don't.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of the nature of the 360 onwards, especially, just using like a, I don't know loads about how this stuff sort of works exactly, but like, it's fairly PC based, the way in which the processor and all this, obviously go back as far as the PlayStation 3 and you start talking about the cell, it becomes a whole big problem for them. Before that, the way in which those early consoles were reading data off the CDs, I think is a big problem too.
Right.
So it's not necessarily a like for like. It's also weird to me because like some of the really good PlayStation 1 and PSP games, maybe less so PS2. I can't remember. You'll have to maybe give your thoughts on that. I feel like a lot of the sort of cream of the crop has already been like ported over the years onto modern PlayStation stuff or onto PC even. Like I can play Loco Roco on my PlayStation 5 right now. I can play all the Katamari games. I mean, not all the mobile stuff is there, but like a lot of them are. Like Lumines has made it over. You know what I mean? There's a lot of those games are kind of there already. Right. So I'm kind of trying to think. There's probably a really good batch of games that never made it over. But like even Wipeout, maybe Wipeout 2097 never made it over. What's it called over here? Wipeout. What did you guys call that? You didn't call it 2097. You called it Wipeout something else. Fury or something. Wipeout XL. That's what you call it.
It's a spreadsheet.
I was just going to say that's my favorite spreadsheet software.
Yeah, you're right on the PS2 games being like, and PS1, a lot of the classic like games that are expensive or hard to get a hold of or just like really well regarded tend to be already on PS4 and therefore already on PS5. I guess from a preservation perspective, there's arguments that games that aren't good should still be playable, but you're right in the architecture of everything, especially PS3. It's been kind of hard even on PC to get decent emulation going, so I don't blame them for not doing that, obviously. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for this, I guess. I hope the price tag means it's going to be a lot of cool things, that they start doing more of that too. Hopefully that $17.99 a month is them going, we want some more money so we can spend some more money porting PSP games or porting PS2 games no one wants or PS1 games no one wants. Hopefully that's the perspective change. But who knows? I don't know. Cool news thing.
For me, I love backwards compatibility, and that's, again, where Xbox is amazing. Game Pass has so many original Xbox games on there. I'm eager to see what the full library is of these PS1 through PS3 games. The fact that PSP games are included, but I would also hope, like, are they going to keep adding old games, or is it like old retro games, or is it just going to be, this is everything we have and that's it? Like, if they keep adding games to it, I'll be interested. Right. So yeah, I might have to look at the catalog, but at least they're trying. I appreciate that. Like, it's very hard to compete with Game Pass, but I think I'll take a look. But even now, like, I'm pretty happy with PlayStation Plus as it is. I don't know if there's any big games that would be in the additional tiers that I don't already have or like couldn't just find on a cheap sale. Yeah, so I would just have to look at the value of games. But I do hope they would add more to it and make it a better value in the future.
Yeah, it's I have used PlayStation Now a lot I've like gone off and on it a lot over the years, and there's a lot of really cool stuff on there, but like aside from them sort of, I guess, unifying that a bit, like the two services kind of with this tiered system, there's not all that much there that's kind of screaming to me, especially with the price tag. I guess I'll have to see, like, if some stuff goes up there that's super cool and I'm like, oh, I definitely want to play some of that. Like some classic PS1 games would really go a long way. Like if I could play, like, Cooler World or fucking, I'm trying to think. Tokyo Jungle is already on PlayStation Now. Played a bunch of that. Like, just, yeah, I don't know. Devil Dice.
The one thing that's still a bummer with the PS5 is you can't buy PS1 games individually. Like you could on the PS3, but PS1 games you can't play. So the only way to do them is if you get on the PlayStation Now or service. And it's like, oh, I wish you would unlock. Just let me pay $5 so I can have Resident Evil 2 without like the
but they have to stream it,
Yeah,
right? I think that's the issue.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
That they need to stream it because of the weird compatibility. And I mean, also it's worth mentioning that like on PS3 you could buy a lot of classic games. And you presumably have the same Sony account, but they're not just going to give you those games now. Whereas when you had that on Microsoft, like you still, if you have Xbox Live Arcade games you bought in 2006, they're still on your account, and you can play 99.9% of them. There's a couple of weird ones that don't work anymore for whatever reason. So it's I don't know.
I think the price perspective is weird too, because for $17.99, whatever, right? But Xbox, you can play games on PC, like locally. You don't have to stream everything. Where with this, if you want to play on your PC, you got to stream it. So yeah, there's a bunch of weird things to this. Anyways.
Wait, you can do this on PC?
Yeah, PlayStation Now works on PC. I think you need a PS4 controller, although you can maybe do some goofy stuff and get that working. But yeah.
When is this launching?
June.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully we'll have more ideas of what's kind of going to be part of that then by the time to do it. But there it is. That's one thing coming out this year. One thing not coming out this year, surprise to pretty much no one, is the sequel to Breath of the Wild. It has been delayed. They are saying it'll be a early 2023 release. I feel like we talked about this a couple of months, or was it a couple of weeks ago? We kind of went through some of the games that are least likely to come out. Any other candidates you guys think for games that aren't going to make it out this year?
Starfield.
Yeah, I think that's
no fucking shot.
Yeah, that's a strong argument for that. I'd be shocked if that made it this year. I also think maybe Redfall.
I was about to say that.
Is that planned for this year?
It has a 2022 release
no
date.
Fucking way.
That's just what when you have to put a release date on things. That's the the thing where you have a trailer, you have to have a release date so that people don't think it's this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you just put 2022 because it's not 2020 or 2021. Then you have to go, oh, we weren't really saying 2022.
Yeah, Saints Row. Maybe, I don't know. Let's push for August.
Oh yeah, that already got delayed once. I hope it's 6. I think one of the Gotham Knights. I don't know, is that still set for October? One of those like Justice League games got pushed.
Yeah, Kill the Suicide Squad or whatever the hell. Kill the Justice League. Yeah.
Okay. See that the Suicide Squad game looked like a Saints Row game. So that's why I was really excited for it. But I think Gotham Knights might stick.
That's a good point. Some of those are a little bit too similar, maybe as well.
I think Bayonetta 3 is a game that seems infinitely.
That's gotta come.
That's
out
never
this
coming
year.
out, baby. I'm telling you.
They just need to just scrap it and put it on PS5 and Xbox.
Yeah.
The Callisto Protocol is still 2022. That was in early pre-production when COVID happened. So that's the new Visceral Games, the one out here in the Bay that are making the ex Dead Space dudes basically making that. It's part of, remember, the PUBG Striking Distance Studios. It's part of PUBG's publishing or developer.
What was the Nintendo War game that just got delayed because of all the real life war stuff? Advance Wars.
Was there Advance Wars?
That got pushed to an indefinite release date because of.
Yeah, they're gonna wait until all wars over.
Yeah.
Well, no, only the wars that we give a shit about. Let's be honest.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the trailer with the year in it, and they're like, yeah, war coming to an end.
Yeah.
Early Q1 2023.
Forspoken?
Yeah, that game looks really cool. That's
they delayed that already, right?
Yeah.
It says October.
Oh, it got pushed to October, right? Okay. Yeah.
I've only ever seen one trailer for that thing.
Really? There's been a lot.
With like lady climbing up rocks.
Yeah.
Has there? God, I don't know. Maybe it's such an unbelievably unbearable name. Got some good writers. Amy Hennig and Gary Witt are writing on that. Who's making that? Luminous Productions.
Yeah, for Square.
Japan?
Which I think it kind of fell into that Square game mind soup that Babylon's Fall fell into and everything else. So
right. Babylon's Fall, man, they know how to name them, don't they?
Speaking of Babylon's Fall, they finally have a free demo out on PlayStation and Steam. You can try it for free, and then if you like the game, whatever, you retain your progress.
Oh,
yeah, Babylon's Fall, the Platinum games, that game that came out that I love Platinum games. I didn't touch it. I don't know anyone who touched it, so maybe there's a reason to check it out.
That and the Chaos Final Fantasy one were games that I could not separate in my brain. They were just like the same.
Yeah.
We had that. A lot of character action and a lot of asymmetric shooters got announced around that same time. The other game that's most likely not coming out this year is Stalker 2.
Oh yeah, no way.
GSC Game World or
they have to take all the NFTs out.
Well,
yeah, but
also,
unfortunately now they have a war going on, and
yeah. That's the only problem they have going on is the NFTs.
You're right though; they were the litmus test for that, weren't they? They did the NFTs and almost immediately.
Yeah, there was a very quick backlash. Also, war. Not trying to make light of the whole war situation. Obviously,
right?
No, of course.
The war against NFTs continues. There was one company last week. What was it? There was an NFT game. There was a game that got sold to an NFT. I don't know, venture capitalist thing or something that is getting tanked on Steam.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I can't remember what the name was.
Yeah, I forget what it is as well. And I mean, Steam reviews are only not exactly the
gamer Yelp at this point, honestly.
Gamer Yelp.
Yeah, gamer Yelp. Gamer Yelp. Oh my god!
I had to pull some screenshots of Steam forums for the Among Us documentary, and some of them were so fun. Like some of them were way too horrible to put in there, but they're talking about like the difficulty of it's kind of like a bit of visual comedy because they're talking about the push and pull or the back and forth between the team and the community, and they're like, yeah, we get a lot of feedback and blah blah blah, and then it cuts to a screenshot of a Steam forum where it's like, fix the fucking game. It's like. It's just so toxic, dude. So many people are just like, oh god,
awesome. You love to see it. Yeah, so 2022. We the further we get into it, the less likely some of these dates are going to shtick. But as you know from listening to the podcast and playing video games for the past while, there is no shortage of games to play. I am certainly still playing catch up. I'm enjoying myself in Tunic and enjoying Tunic. I'm still making my way through Elden Ring. I'm in a bit of a pinch with some absolute motherfuckers and I'm trying to kill and kind of respecing my character. Looking forward to Weird West, which is coming out this week in 2 days, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's Game Pass, right?
It is Game Pass, yeah. Speaking of.
Oh, nice. Very good. Wow. Look at I guess the Bethesda or Microsoft bought Bethesda and they decided they just, let's get Raphael Colantonio.
The Arcane guys were like, hey, come on. They need more games. Come on.
Come on. There's room on the bus. Yeah. Come on. Yeah, just like,
get on it.
They've not been acquired, but
not yet.
That's pretty cool. So I haven't basically, I have nothing to add because I basically just playing catch up from coming back in the desert. Has anyone played Norco? Norco got mentioned last week. So I want to, has anyone played it? Jesse's rocking his head like one of those, like a bobblehead on a country road.
Yeah, a bobblehead that did a bunch of coke. Yeah. Norco's really good. It sucks because I wanted to talk about it more today, but I had this bug that just completely bricked my game basically. I cannot advance. It's very, very sad. But still a very good game.
So what type of game is this? Because I can't even tell, and I've looked at screenshots and watched videos. Is it like an interactive novel or something? Or
that's a good way of putting it. We talked about video games being literature a couple weeks ago. This is capital L literature.
Is it sophisticated?
It's very sophisticated.
Like Gran Turismo?
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's Gran Turismo, and Disco Elysium. Those are the literature games.
Awesome. Yeah.
So this is Norco is a Southern Gothic like point and click narrative adventure developed by Geography of Robots, which is a collaborative of artists and developers strung across the U.S. It's about a lot of weird stuff. Honestly, it's like a trip. It's a real trip. It's about a girl unraveling the mysteries surrounding her mother's death. It's done in the style of like a classic point and click too. Like it's not we're a point and click. No, it's like it feels like you're playing. It's Disco Elysium by way of Secret of Monkey Island. Like that's what it feels like. Yeah, there's a lot of pixel hunting. You're doing like it's really got this beautiful pixel art style to it, which is really cool. Very evocative of like the sword and sorcery games and stuff like that, the Super Brother stuff. But it's also got a lot of cool features. Like, the thing in Disco Elysium where you can like interact with your brain and see what your emotions are feeling. There's not something super similar to that, but there is something called a mind map where you can it's sort of like a notebook, but you're also like reliving memories with the characters and stuff. And it's all told through this really beautiful prose. It's got fantastic writing. Like it really feels like you're just reading a long string of poetry. It's really good. It takes place in this dystopic, pollution-filled, natural disaster-ridden future of southern Louisiana, mostly in the titular Norco city. It's weird. Like there's so much about it that I don't want to spoil because it's an interesting story and it's fun to play through. And like there's so many interesting mysteries and the world is really, I think, the thing that draws people in. Like it is a world that very few games try to create, and it's a world that you want to be in more because they keep describing things and you keep experiencing moments and you're like, this is so reflective of the real world, but also is this dreamscape that you would never be able to to comprehend on your own.
Is it kind of like you get a lot of this with like East of West, or like kind of like Horizon as well a little bit, where it's like you're kind of like, oh, this part of the world is all fucked up and weird. I wonder what it's like here or there, or I wonder what this part of society is like.
Totally.
Is it kind of like that?
Yeah, like there's a bit where you can finally see the map, and you can see sort of an idea of what this area looks like, and you're like, what the hell happened? Like,
that's
they
cool.
don't state years. Everything's like XD21, so they don't want to say what year it is because they don't want to look like they're guessing the future, I guess. Even though it kind of feels like the current day.
Or keep the mystery, maybe. Just
that too. That too. I'm not far enough to say. There might be something that comes up at the end, but I'm blocked. But yeah, it's really a beautiful game. I think it's going to be something that's really special to the people that end up playing it and like that kind of thing. If you're big into reading, you're really going to like this. It's like a book that you don't want to put down, and then there's a random block that stops you from moving forward.
The graphics they're really, it's weird. I know it's probably going to be a very subjective touch point, I guess, but it's really reminiscent of there was a Commodore Amiga games were not very graphically advanced at all, especially for the era. There was better stuff on PC, and even some of the console stuff could like have better frame rates. But one of the things they used to have was like these very stylistic FMV almost like intro videos and stuff for the game. So games like Syndicate and Shadow of the Beast had these like gloriously made like pixel animated, very like evocative and dark and tonal in a way that like then it would cut to the game and it's like fucking James Pond. You know what I mean? You're like, it's just like, so it was always like, it looked really amazing and was so separate from the rest of the game's experience. And it really looks like that. It's like that type of like, I guess Disco Elysium isn't a million miles from that either, but this is cranked back a little bit. It's a bit more pixely. It's not all the way, like you said, sword and sorcery, and it's not, the sort of painterly style of Disco Elysium, but it has like, it's sitting somewhere in the middle there, and it's like I hope I like this game, right? Because it kind of looks cool. Jeremy, have you played it all yet? I remember you said you were going to.
I bought it yesterday, and I did not play it because my friends are deeply embroiled in a game of Valheim, and
oh, nice.
Yeah, which after we finish Norco, I'll have to we'll touch base on Valheim real quick.
Yeah,
I did just want to say one more thing about it that I think is really just like very nice and sad, but nice in a weird way. It's the big focus of the game is this corporation that exists in it called Shield, which is like an oil refinery kind of thing. So pollution plays a big role in Norco and how it impacts the world and stuff. Like you're playing in southern Louisiana, which has already experienced tons of flooding and is really deeply impacted by a lot of global natural disasters, which is really sad. But it's nice to see a story that acknowledges that pollution is not like a thing that individuals can impact, but individuals are impacted by. Like,
right.
There's this house that you show up at one point that's boarded up, and it's become a permanent fixture of the house, not in preparation of a flood or a hurricane, but just because it could happen at any time. And that kind of story, it made me think of The First Reformed, which I rewatched this weekend, and which is like a movie about this pastor in New York who is played by Ethan Hawke, which is he's great. But it's about this pastor helping this guy who's dealing with climate change disaster kind of thing. It's about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's great. It's a fucking weird movie.
Very weird movie. But the climate disaster stuff I think was it's just I don't know. I like stories like that, which is sad and weird, but I just we've done enough climate disaster stuff in terms of like, whoa, 2012, dude, look at this, crazy. Or the day before, or whatever the hell, day after tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know. I just really like that aspect of it. It's cool. It's a very interesting world that shows you a lot of what's going on and is very dystopic, but also very reflective of where we are right now.
Jeremy, have you seen First Reformed? I feel like that's a movie we talked about before.
First Reformed is one of my favorite movies of the last decade, probably.
Dude, so good.
It's a sleeper hit.
Yeah, seriously.
It is so good.
Can God forgive us for what we've done to this world? Who can know the mind of God?
Yeah, it does such a good job of like, it gives you that feeling of whenever you find a social issue or like an ecological issue, any sort of like large scale issue, and you get really into the weeds researching it, and then you try to express it to other people in your life who haven't like explored it at all. You seem so extreme because you're like, we need to turn every Walmart into like a vertical garden, and people are like, what are you talking about? And you're like, no, you don't understand, man. Yeah, like I got books on like my desk is covered in notes about like degrowth. But yeah, it's I'm trying to talk around.
It's impossible to talk
Yeah.
about it. It's Yeah, I feel like just like almost like also everything I feel like we've said about it doesn't actually talk about why
exactly.
this movie is so cool.
Yeah.
So you should just like it's a very good. I feel like it's a tight 90 as well.
Yeah.
I feel like it wasn't overly long. It's 113. Okay, well it ran.
Yeah.
It's got Amanda Seyfried in it as well as Ethan Hawke. Yeah, it's a fucking tour de force.
It's got one of those comedians in it. I can't remember his name, but he plays the pastor.
Is it Cedric?
Yeah, Cedric Kyles. Is that right? Cedric the Entertainer.
Cedric the Entertainer. Yeah.
Oh wow,
That's who it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he was great.
That's
That was fun.
It's fantastic. It is not a movie to watch if you are in a delicate headspace.
Nope.
No.
Don't read the IPCC report and then watch that. Don't be sad and watch
No.
that. Really, just don't do anything and then watch that. Just like put it on accident.
But also like the ending. I'm not gonna
no,
say
the
it,
ending's just
actually.
weird. Don't talk about it.
Let's not talk about anything
Yeah.
in that movie. Go watch First Reformed.
If you're feeling emotionally strong and in the
Yeah.
mood to be devastated,
Feel
please
zero
watch this
despair.
Yeah, it's
Check
pretty,
it out.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's a real good like person going through some fucking tough ass decisions.
It's
and-
like Paul Schrader's his name, right?
Yeah.
It's like this bizarre. So Paul Schrader, he's a screenwriter from back in the day. Like he wrote Raging Bull and bunch of other stuff.
Taxi Driver.
And this was his directorial debut, if I'm not mistaken. He wrote and
Wow.
directed this. Maybe he did something before, but he
no, it looks like he's directed a lot actually.
Really? Oh, okay.
On his IMDb page.
Oh, maybe this was okay. I know back in the day he was primarily a screenwriter, so I thought I wasn't sure how extensive his directing was, but he definitely has done less directing than writing, and it's cool to see him at the helm because he has like a very different flavor than the Scorsese movies that use his scripts, where it's like it's just the feeling of like because Paul Schrader is like I'm pretty sure he's like a pretty Christian dude and has like a very kind of just like grim, like it's the feeling of like 1300s like medieval Christian literature of just like a monk sitting in the tower and being like everyone is dying of the plague and God hates us, but it's like but it's awesome.
But it's set in like is it rural Massachusetts? I feel like
it might be. I feel like it's
remember.
the South. It definitely has an East Coast feel. I can't remember where it is though.
the town.
The town, yeah. They got to get
First Reformed.
They need.
First Reformed? No, it's New York. It's New York.
Yeah.
It's New York. Okay, cool.
New York State.
New York City, I think.
Is it? I thought it
might
was
just be
pretty
state.
rural.
Snowbridge, New York, so somewhere outside.
All right. There you go. Well, now we're just like getting into the details.
Oh,
Go
yeah.
watch First Reformed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
It's good stuff. Valheim.
Okay, so you guys went on and on about Valheim for the Game of the Year podcast,
What a game.
and I heard great things. I hadn't played it. Danny generously bought it for me a very long time ago, and I just never fired it up. And my friend group, who I haven't gamed with in probably 8 or 9 months, we just haven't had a game to unite around, have all been firing up Valheim. And it is really, really cool. It is an excellent game. It is fantastic. The thing that is most interesting to me is that it's like it has little splashes of a lot of different things. When I play a lot of these like cooperative, collaborative crafting games, I often am not super gripped by them because I'm the person in the group who everyone else will be like, yeah, we need to construct like a hall and we'll put this is where the beds will go and this is my room. And I'm like, how does this serve the combat? How will this enhance my ability to do the combat?
Right.
It ties the loop of gathering resources really well to the combat, and you have to like go do these dungeons to get essential items to build like portals and forges and things like that. I hate to say this because I feel like all I ever talk about on the podcast is Dark Souls, but it's it has a very like Souls light kind of combat system where there's iframe,
yeah.
the
Timing and all that, right?
Totally. Like there's the parrying is really essential. You can die very quickly and easily, especially if you're exploring an area that you're underleveled for. It's got dodges with iframes and stuff. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's just like it's captivating, and it does a really good job of kind of as soon as you feel like you have a sense of you're like, oh, it'll be like this, and then we'll go to a new biome, and it'll be like this, and it's just gonna like slowly ratchet up. It throws little curveballs to you, which I'm trying to obviously talk around because I want to preserve the mystery for people. But you'll find something in the open world where you'd be like, what the hell is this? Like this doesn't, yeah. And it's, I don't know. It is a game that does a very good job of curating a sense of mystery, and that's what I really like in games is especially games with exploration. Like if I'm exploring and it's all just kind of like, if I can predict what I'll find exploring, then it's not true exploration. It's just kind of like mapping out if every biome was just biome, enemies are slightly harder, dungeons are slightly different. That's not really like, there's no exploration to that. That's just like charting out the thing you're expecting. But yeah, it's really cool. I think anyone who has even like a fleeting interest in kind of like crafting games or collaborative games should check it out.
Yeah, if you missed the boat on this, it was this time last year, I feel like, where it all kicked off, right? It was like this and Loop Hero had their real hot moments. And we did reach out to AB, Iron Gate Studios, Iron Gate AB, about doing something, and they were just super busy at the time. They are down to do something with us at some point. They're based in Sweden, so I'm assuming at this stage it'll probably need to be remote. If we're going to do it at any stage, I should reach out to them again. But yeah, it's a real good, it has something that I was kind of hoping to get from something like Sea of Thieves, which is that I think that it does expeditions better than any other game, where like you just have this you want to go to the other island, and like, how do we get over there? And then you figure out that like maybe there's ways of making boats, and then you have to go over, and because of the nature of death and dropping things, it becomes this high risk thing. Or like you said with the portals, it sometimes introduces situations where maybe you'll have to cover a lot of ground, and those moments where you're just like, okay, are we staying up for another 4 hours to do this? You know, like they're super special.
Yeah, it's like a organic goal formation or something. I don't know I don't know if there's a term for this, but in like game design, but
there's no objectives in this game, right? It's just like,
totally. It is totally open ended, and I think that an open ended game that fails to grab me is one that doesn't clearly telegraph objectives. But I think that's a very difficult push pull when it's kind of open ended, because it's like, I mean, we talked about this a little bit with Elden Ring in a previous podcast, where a game that holds your hand too much, it shrinks the world, especially in like an open world. If it's just like, oh, look at this giant open world, and then it's like, and here is the exact point on your map where you need to go, where you'll find the thing. It doesn't feel like a big grand open world, because it doesn't give you like, part of the feeling of the open world, the psychology of it is this feeling that, oh, I could go in any direction and find something totally different, and there's no,
it's
like,
almost the same mentality of like using Google Maps in a city.
Yeah,
where you just kind of like, you put the blinders on or something. You know, you're not even thinking about the spaces in between.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just like when it doesn't give you enough structure to feel limited, or like if you're not going to the goal, you're doing the wrong thing. That's like the feeling you don't want to create in an open-ended game like this. It creates these organic goals, like you said, where it's like, oh, there's a continent over there, and I bet there's something cool over there that we haven't seen yet. I bet there's a new biome. I bet there's new resources, new enemies and stuff. And it lets you. It's like it's a sandbox game, but not in a way where you're like building. I don't even really like building bases. Like, that's not the element of the sandbox game that appeals to me. It's the sandbox of like an experience sandbox or something.
Yeah, it's fun. Like I didn't play much Rust, but one of the things I liked about it was that we had folks on our crew who were the base building person, and that was great. Go build a base, and I was more of like an explorer. I liked charting the map and like explore, you know, that type of thing, and finding shit for other people to come find. So it's kind of cool that way as well. You kind of have these organic roles to them.
I played a ton of Rust, conversely.
Yeah, you played loads.
I played probably 160 hours of Rust, and it is one of those, truly is one of those games where like the first, 20 hours, you're like, wow, this is wonderful. And then the next 100 hours
fucking
are
Lord
like,
of the Flies.
This is my Vietnam. And the base building elements in that too are like, it's less expressive, because in Valheim, you can kind of just like do your thing. And if stuff gets destroyed by mobs, then the resources just drop to the ground and you can rebuild. So it's like, it's punishing, and you lose like skill points if you die and stuff. So it's definitely not, it has elements that are punishing, and you can like lose all your gear if you die at sea and stuff like that. But in Rust, it's like, there's not even room for expression. So like I was playing Rust the wrong way. Me and my friends were like, oh, we'll have a food garden, and we'll each build a bedroom. And then you get 30 hours in and you're like, no, we have to like honeycomb 600 garage doors, or like a teenager from Houston will explode our roof and take all of our possessions. Like there's no room for creativity. There's no room for error.
It's like Walking Dead season 1 versus Walking Dead season 8. where like suddenly it's just like, let's live in a fucking prison. Oh my god!
Fuck it. Yeah,
literally. I remember one day I logged on to Rust and I had looked up like how to build a proper base, and my friends logged on and they're like, "Oh, is this the new base? Let's see it." And I was like, "All right, cool. Let me just open the doors." And garage doors are really hard to explode, but it takes a lot of resources to build them. So they're like, I was like, "I'll be right out," and then they hear like as all the garage doors start opening, because it was just like it's called honeycombing. You literally have to build these little like triangle cells so that if someone blows your wall open, they're just in like a little
stuck in
room.
like a no man's land or like a like a little
my favorite Rust. A kill floor. My favorite Rust anecdote was we had the first time we got seriously raided was these 3 dudes who were just super like they'd been playing the game for hundreds of hours. We had no idea what we were doing. They took all of our stuff, but on the way out, one of them fell into a floor that had been blown and he got stuck in one of our airlocks. And so these kids who'd been bullying us for 20 minutes were like, all right, well, listen, like we got to get our boy out of there. He's got all the stuff. And we're like, oh, well, this is an interesting situation. It seems you have everything that belongs to us and you're stuck at our base. And so we had to negotiate with them on the mic for like 30 minutes. And they're like, well, listen, man, you're not going to get this stuff back. And I was like, well, then I guess you're going to live in our airlock now. And I was like, finally had a deal struck. And then my friend Greg, who has a hot temper when it comes to these things, was like, all right, Greg, are these terms agreeable? And he's like, fuck you guys. Like, he just like, and then it's just the diplomacy broke down. Rust is crazy, man. It's like, I don't think it was good for my mental health, but I really loved it.
Man. Frank, what have you been playing over the past week or so?
Yeah, it was a big weekend because I think on Friday I got 3 games. 2 big ones just came out. It was Ghostwire Toyko, Kirby, and then I also picked up WWE 2K22.
Which came out recently enough, right? Came out past few weeks.
Yeah, that came out like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Yeah, I guess I'll just do quick hits on all of them. So Ghostwire Toyko, I love. This is like, it's very relaxing to play. The way I would describe it is it almost feels like as if like the Yakuza team made a first person horror game in the sense of like, it's not scary. It's really cute and charming. No. It's like, it already even feels closer to like the Persona games, the way they deal with yokai. Like, I really like it. You're exploring like a haunted, spooky Tokyo. It feels like you're playing Crackdown because you're looking for like, instead of collecting agility orbs, you're looking for spirits and capturing them. There's really weird traversal you unlock. Like you look up in the sky and you fly Tengu and you can use like a spirit grappling hook to fly up. And then you can glide through the city to collect stuff. Like the way the combat works almost feels like Doom Eternal, where it's like you need to use certain abilities for certain enemies to counter them. You can parry, you can block. Like it feels really great to play. And there's like cool side quests that will take you into like special apartments. And there's a crazy story in there. Like, yeah, so I'm surprised how much I like it.
I'm glad you like it because when I played it, it felt like a game. I think I said on the podcast that like it's not going to be for everyone, but there will be a group of people who will really like this.
Yeah, it rules. So now this is like, I guess 3 for 3 for Tango Gameworks. Like I really liked Evil Within 2 I enjoyed, and now this, it's like, okay, great. Like they're making games, yeah, just for me. This is cool. So yeah, I really like Ghostwire Toyko. I think that's the game out of, there's so many games, I think that's the one I'm gonna like mainline and like beat. I think you can also beat it in like less than 20. It doesn't seem like it's too massive, but yeah, it feels pretty good. Kirby came out on the Switch, which is really cute and charming. There's local couch co-op, so I recommend if you have a friend, or it's not online, but if you have a friend to play with locally, it's pretty fun and charming. It feels like the Nintendo team took a lot of inspiration from Mario Odyssey in the sense of every level has a different like gimmick where Kirby can inhale like a vending machine to spit soda cans. Kirby can be a traffic cone or a car. Like it's just really fun. And there's cool things you can collect. You can upgrade your abilities, which I don't think Kirby's has done in the past.
Right.
So the different enemies you can suck up. You can then, if you collect enough like currency, you can upgrade it to make it stronger. There's also like an in-game, almost like item shop where you can go in and pick any ability you want and then replay a level with that ability. So it almost feels like Lego Star Wars, like where you'll be going through a level and it's like, oh shoot, I need this ability to unlock the secret entrance. So there's replayability. So yeah, I haven't gotten too deep into it. I think I put maybe 4 hours into it, but yeah, it's pretty great.
How combat heavy is it? Because like it looks like one that I'd almost like to do like play with my kid, but I try not to have stuff where you just like murking fools. Except when she walks in and I'm playing Elden Ring and I'm like, hey, I gotta finish this boss.
It feels very light. It's a lot of like platforming or how do I solve this puzzle? Like I would compare it to like Lego Star Wars, where it's very like light and jolly. It's not like there's maybe a boss fight every like maybe there's a little boss fight every level, but even the boss fight, it's super easy. Like I don't think I've ever died. Right. Like it's very you could totally play.
Okay, I'll do a little bit of a There's a demo as well. What's it called? Kirby and the Forgotten Land? Is that it?
Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Okay. Yeah. So it's. Yeah, and the cool thing with the co-op, the second player, whereas if they get stuck behind, they'll just warp next to you. So it's not cool. Like you're not going to get, I hate the thing in co-op games where the camera, you're fighting against the camera as you go opposite directions. Yeah, Kirby controls it, and then your player 2 will just warp to you.
Like Spelunky, it's Spelunky style.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. So that's pretty good. And then, the reason I got WWE 2K22, I didn't get it at the launch date because I was, curious to see how it would be since the last 2K, the wrestling game, was a disaster. So the 2K20 was so bad that they had to basically take a year off and fix it. And so this new one is actually pretty good. But I also wanted to wait for the created, the whole reason to get these games is the created wrestler and the created community. The amazing thing with this game is I would consider it like crossplay in terms of the created characters. So if someone makes a character on PC, you can download on your Xbox or vice versa. So it all goes to the same pool where anyone on any console can download the characters. So in just the course of 3 weeks, there's now, I don't know, like 20,000 created wrestlers. So I searched Slipknot out of curiosity, and every single era of Corey Taylor and his costume is there. Like there's like 30 different Slipknot skins. There's like 3 different eras of Limp Bizkit. Someone made the current Dad Vibes Limp Bizkit. Like it's like okay, like there's Woodstock Limp Bizkit.
Dad Vibes.
Where's Fred Durst?
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it's like I'm very proud of the wrestling.
What's the most messed up thing you've seen? How many Chris Benoits did you come across?
Oh yeah, there's definitely. I mean, I'm trying to think like, I'm trying to think. There's a giant Kirby I have that's just a massive like obese like bowling ball, but the face is like Kirby. I also downloaded like a Tommy Pickles from Rugrats. That's just a big guy in a diaper, but with the perfect Tommy face because you can upload like images.
Oh, really?
So they just straight up took the Tommy's face and put it on him. So it's a giant baby. It's
that's all. A bunch of people there was someone in the Kind of Funny community basically uploaded their entire crew into the game as well, and it looks so good. And I think Khalif Adams as well also was posting pictures. I mean, he always does it with the NBA games. I guess that's also Visual Concepts. They make the NBA games as well. Who worked on this? Novato's own. They're local. Ooh. Just between me and Jeremy, basically. We should have lunch in Visual Concepts breakfast room. What the fuck's a breakfast room?
Breakfast room.
Cafeteria.
I want to be that bougie where I can have a fucking breakfast room.
Every studio has a breakfast room, and then you can subvert it by eating dinner in there once in a while.
Levins's room. Any other final thoughts on WWE?
Yeah, I guess I was also impressed. Someone made a very accurate Superhuman, which is my favorite internet celebrity, the Juggalo who jumps onto microwaves.
Oh my God, Superhuman. That guy.
Yeah, he's accurate. And
what does he say when he jumps on?
He says, "This is for all the Juggalos and Juggalettes. Fuck this shit."
That's it, yeah.
This is for the Juggalos and Juggalettes. Do not try this at home, and I hope you like it. Whoop whoop! Fuck this shit! Whoop whoop!
He's the best. He's a king. And so, if you just search Superhuman with 2 M's, you'll pull him up. Like, someone scanned the ICP shirt he wears. Like, he looks great. Like, they nailed it. So, yeah, it's good. If you are, like, if you're a fan of these games, I feel like they fixed it. There's even, like, a physics settings. You can toggle it to be arcade, so it moves faster. The previous games are really weighty and, like, simulation. I feel like it's getting better. So, yeah, and the fact that created characters are cross console makes it worth checking out because there's so many characters.
Damn, it's a lot of video games to play, folks.
While we're talking about character creators, I just want to give a shout out to a couple Elden Ring PvP videos that have been going around with some hilarious builds. The 2 that come to mind are someone built a Sonic build where they were a blue man who would electrify, had a skill that they would turn electric, and then they were just rolling at people.
Sick.
And it was that was awesome. And then the other really good one was someone put on really, really heavy armor with high poise, so they're really slow moving, and then got a spell that like shoots out a huge barrage of like magic missile kind of things. And so it was a Gundam. And so they were just walking at people and like taking 1,000 sword hits and just like absorbing all of them and then shooting out a bunch of like magic missiles and killing everyone. It was awesome. Elden Ring fucking rules.
Yeah.
That's terrific. speaking of games, new games, in case you haven't finished your Elden Ring Sonic run, we have coming out in the next few days. It looks like Death Stranding Director's Cut is coming to PC on. Ooh. Well, these will basically all be out by the time you check this out. Crusader Kings just came out on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X as well, which is pretty good. Has anyone touched Tiny Tina's Wonderland?
No.
No. I'm not a big fan of what were the other Gearbox? Borderlands. I played the first one. I really liked it, but I'm just not that. I don't like loot shooters. Like I don't play Destiny. I don't play any of those. So, so I don't know.
I actually played co-op Borderlands 2. I'd never played a Borderlands game,
right?
And somebody I know was very nostalgic about them. So we went back and tried to play 2. Got halfway through. It was fun. It definitely it has a very over the top writing style because I really like loot games. Like I love Diablo. Diablo 1 and 2 are some of my favorite games ever. And so the looting, and I also like first person shooters. So the looting aspect was very appealing to me, and it's fun to get cool guns that are like, oh, this one lights people on fire, this one shoots lightning. But the writing style is so over the top that it just, that game is probably also like a decade old. It just, I don't know how it came at the time, but it didn't age well.
I think people either connect with it or they don't. I feel like, and Tiny Tina is sort of like the tip of that spear, where she was such a Marmite character, you either loved her or hated her. And clearly there's a lot of people who were very irritated by her in the previous games, but there must be enough that like her, right, for them to pin the title of the game. She must be a character that some people really warm to, but obviously it looks like none of us at least are picking it up. There's a lot of games though. Weird West, like we said, coming out. Apparently there's a sequel to Moss, which was the PlayStation 4
VR.
Yeah. Moss Book 2, which is coming apparently, according to this, Polyarch are releasing it on PS4. So I guess for PlayStation VR, but they are looking to get it out on other platforms as soon as possible, it sounds like.
At some point. That'd be nice. Yeah. It was nice to play that on the Index. It's a good game. I liked Moss 1.
Oh, cool. You played it on the Index.
Yeah. Me and Cassie, we would switch back and forth, and I was watching her on the screen. It's just a first person, second person?
No, it's just
it's
platformer. It's just a third-person platformer game, but instead of you having the camera behind them, you're just sort of just standing over the level, kind of, right?
Exactly, yeah. You can observe things and move your head around in the space, but in 3D, so you're not just turning the camera in one fixed position. You actually kind of have to get in there and see what's going on. You can interact with the mouse. It's very cute.
It was one of the good game. Yeah, PSVR. It was not the top tier PSVR games, but it was maybe the next rundown. I feel like everyone sort of played it once they played some of the big ones.
The launch on that, is that a week or two?
It says it's the 31st, so by the time this goes up, it's Thursday.
Okay, wow.
So, but who knows? There might be a PS4 exclusivity thing on that. I'm assuming so for those PlayStation VR games. I don't know if it was delayed a bunch and that's why, because it's kind of a funny time for a PlayStation VR game to be coming out. But
exactly, yeah, because I would wait for the PSVR 2 before I would even bother playing a VR game on PS5 or PS4.
Yeah, I have my little connector I had to send away from. Do you remember that thing? You had to email Sony for the little PlayStation
ridiculous
dongle. Yeah, which I guess is the only way they could go about doing it, but it arrived. So I'm just kind of talking about this because I looked at April, and April's a little bit light. So don't worry, everyone, if we're all talking about these games, because everyone's been talking about games that I haven't played. So don't worry too much because it's a little bit light. MLB The Show 22 is coming out on the 5th. Who's on the cover of this here? Oh, Shohei Ohtani. That's funny. They should call it the Shohei Ohtani. MLB The Shohei or something. That guy's a hack. He's way too good. 13 Sentinels. I know Jesse's excited about that.
Aegis Rim. Finally, you guys can play it on Switch, and you could lose your minds trying to understand the story of that game. It is the most bizarre thing ever. I think everyone should play it just to know how nuts that game is. If you think you've ever experienced a story where you're like, oh, this went a lot of places. I wasn't expecting where this was going 20 times. Aegis Rim does that every 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes, you're like, oh, I'm playing a game about the future. Oh, I'm playing a game about what? Is this an isekai? What's going on? And then it's yeah, I can't even say anything. It's one of those games. I can't say anything.
A lot of Nintendo Switch stuff. If you don't want to play that, you can play, bizarrely, Star Wars The Force Unleashed is coming to Switch. So it's House of the Dead. Chrono Cross is coming to everything pretty much.
With Radical Dreamers. Finally,
edition,
after all this time, you could play the visual novel.
It's a visual novel.
Yeah, it was a Japanese exclusive visual novel thing to go along with Chrono Cross or something like that. Or it's in the same vein. I've heard so many good things about it from my buddy Jake, so I'm excited to give that a shot.
And then at the end of the month, the end of April, what is it called? Nintendo Switch Sports is coming out. So yeah, but apart from that, not all that much next month. It's Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, I guess, as well, and Chernobylite.
Chernobylite,
I've heard about
right?
this a bunch.
Is that what it is?
Chernobylite? Is that it? It came out last year on a bunch of stuff. I think it's coming out on the new consoles next month. But all right, gents, busy week here on the Noclip side. Kind of. We're kind of just like we've all been working on a lot. Bit of a primer week because we're sort of we have a lot of stuff ready and that's coming out. Jeremy just handed off Among Us. He did an awesome edit on Among Us. It's
thank you.
Currently sitting at like 67 minutes or something. So I'll do some stand-ups for that, and we'll get that out next month at some stage. Don't know exactly when, maybe mid next month. We'll see. But big documentary about Among Us. Terrific work. Great work to Dennis as well on the gameplay side of things, and you as well. I saw you did a bunch of pickups as well. Yeah, we've got that. We got the behind the scenes stuff Jesse's been working on from the Mojave. We have basically Noclip Crew launching. So that's going to be a big thing. And we're going to try and aim for a video a week, at least for the first month, and kind of see where we're at. So we've got bunches of cool stuff coming there. But we are kind of in a holding position because we have like several projects as part of this sort of like new ethos of traveling to cities. We're kind of waiting for a big project in one of the 3 places we've got lined up, or kind of one of the 2, I guess, to bite. And then we're gonna go do it. So we have 3 big projects that are sort of like we're just waiting on, and then once that happens, we're gonna book and go. Especially as you can never tell with COVID if we're gonna be looking down the barrel of another spike in the next couple of months. So we're sort of making hay while the sun is shining a little bit there. But yeah, loads of cool stuff coming. I think that's it. I don't know if there's any other housekeeping to be done. Thanks for listening to the podcast. This podcast is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Podcasts are cool. Yeah, podcasts are blowing up right now. Did you know that?
Seriously, they're huge. Yeah.
Sure,
all over the internet.
This guy called Joseph Rogan. Apparently he invented podcasts. Yeah. And it's
what? It's never heard of that guy.
Yeah, he sells each podcast for $1 million. So we're close to that.
I hope it comes with at least a little bit of alpha brain.
Yeah, we got to start selling supplements on here if we want to get big, I think.
Advertising.
Yeah, beta brain, sigma brain. We're gonna go outside of the paradigm.
Yeah, we're missing out on a lot of fun advertising opportunities. We do get.
We got to start pushing G Fuel on here. I'm telling you, that'd be the way to go.
G Fuel,
get it on here.
I'd love to do a video on all the like companies who have pitched us about doing like paid documentaries, because sometimes they don't know, or they assume that we're like a video production house as well, and they're just like, "Hey, can we do something on our game?" And I'm like, no, it's not out for 5 years. We're not committing 5 years of video resources to covering your game. I wish we could. We only did Hades because they were local. I'm sorry. Or that type of stuff. But yeah. What would be the coolest sponsor we could get? What would be a really good...
Raid Shadow Legends.
Yeah.
Oh,
Raid Shadow Legends.
Somebody got emailed by them finally. Was it H-Bomb or someone? Someone
did he? That's funny.
He got tons of emails, so I don't know if it was finally.
Yeah, it was.
That's it. I think you're right though. I feel like H-Bomb recently posted a thing that was
did,
like, I finally made it. Yeah.
I'm typing Raid Shadow Legends into my emails to see if I ever got.
No way you didn't get one.
Don't think we did.
That's crazy,
man. Oh, I typed in Show Legends. That's not the word.
I guess Noclip's not good enough to get the Raid Shadow Legend.
No, we're clearly not.
That's the day that we can finally rest on our laurels. Is when Raid Shadow Legends.
It'll be the Among Us doc. That'll be the thing that'll get the email.
Yeah.
Because Among Us, come on, that's the gamer game.
Oh yeah,
it's wild. Thank you so much to everyone who's been listening to the podcast and following us, and all the new fans we have after this ridiculous Black Mesa documentary has done like 1 million views almost. So, that's pretty cool. Go check out our other videos that didn't get 1 million views.
Go watch the
Chivalry 2.
Chivalry 2.
Yeah, Chivalry 2. That was a lot of fun. You fuckers. Go check that out. But we got some fun projects coming. We got some really big ones. We're sitting on like 3 or 4 ones that are gonna make people's jaw drops a little bit. So let's let's hopefully go do those ones as quick as we can. Gentlemen, what are you doing for the rest of your day? Frank, what are you playing this week?
Let's see. We got some stuff to work on for Noclip, some games. I'm actually excited to go through and revisit. Yeah, I'm trying. And then visiting my mom on the weekend. I was taking care of her.
What a good boy. Good dude. Jeremy, you visiting your mom or are you a bad son?
I'm a bad son. And also she lives 3,000 miles away. It's a bit of a drive.
No excuse.
But this week, I have been busting my ass on a bunch of Noclip stuff all year, and the Noclip crew thing that's coming out and stuff. So this week, I am going to take it easy. I have a house full of laundry and dishes that have been neglected, so that we can bring you good people the Among Us documentary, so you can learn how a cultural zeitgeist is created from the ground up.
What's the insect situation? We're entering spring. You live in the countryside. How are you faring?
It is. Okay, so I'm not a morning person, but occasionally I get up before the crack of noon for Noclip related things. And when the mist settles, so I'm in Sonoma County, so it's very misty in the morning, and then as the day wears on, it becomes like 90 degrees and very sunny. I have to clear. I have to go outside with like a rag and wave it around. But the mist settles on the spider webs, and so it's like black light, where like the black light shows like bodily fluids that you can't otherwise see for like a crime scene. So it is that, but for spider webs. And so if you look out in the misty mornings, you will see that what you thought was a beautiful natural paradise is in fact spider hell.
Fucking duskwood out there,
dude. It is brutal. I have seen some of the biggest spiders I've ever seen in my entire life living here. I saw what it was, either a tarantula or a California trapdoor spider.
Oh my god!
And it was literally the size. It was almost the size of my palm. It was like horrible, just nightmarish. I've seen black widows. I went to war with a black widow that lived in my laundry room, and like a black widow, their venom is 17 times as poisonous as a rattlesnake's venom. They'll kill you. They will literally kill you. So it's, it's living, the living's easy up here, country living up here.
I Googled Black Widow, because remember on the way down to the desert, I said there was a spider out of my car that freaked me the fuck out. I just pulled away from a Taco Bell in the middle of nowhere, and there was a spider on the windshield, and I was like, oh, that sucks, I better open it. But then I looked at it, and it was like black with a red dot on its butt.
Yeah.
It was so, and I was so, but I didn't know what it was. I was like, well, that's kind of a gnarly looking spider. So I just pulled away. So I pulled it back into my parking spot, which really pissed off the poor guy who was cutting the grass there. And then I'm sorry. And I opened the door and did the whole flick it with a towel so it goes away. And I couldn't see it go, but I was like fairly sure it was gone. And then afterwards I was telling him about it, and he was like, that's what black widows look like. And I was like, I think it probably wasn't a black widow. There's probably another spider that's black and has a red dot, right? But I looked it up, and it's like, it's not, it didn't look like its legs were as long as one of those, but size-wise and color-wise, it was totally that. So
some of them have the short little legs. Dude, when you told me that story, it was like let me give you, because I'm so familiar with black widows, this is how that story clocked in my brain. It was like someone was like, yeah, I was walking down the street the other day, and this guy pulled out like a piece of metal and put it to my head. It was shaped like an L, and there was a hole in the front of it, and it had like a little thing that you pull with your finger. I'm not sure what he was doing with it, but I just brushed him away. That was how that Black Widow story read to me. You faced death in the eyes.
That's not, not. I don't know where it came from. That's upsetting to me, because I'm like, hopefully it just blew in, because I wasn't anywhere near the desert, and also I don't think there are Black Widows in my garage, but maybe there are. Maybe I should.
They exist in the Bay, and they love garages. You know what they hate is cinnamon. If you this is not even a joke, throw cinnamon all over your garage, and it'll smell like a gingerbread house, and you won't have.
I'll definitely do that. So my kids' sand pit is the most beautiful smelling sand pit in the world, for the same reason, because raccoons hate that shit.
Hell yeah, dude.
And they're always hanging out in our back garden, and I want them pissing in our sandpit.
Why? I don't understand why the natural world hates cinnamon so much. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It's like, if they smell it, it's like the cinnamon challenge to them. It's just like, it's too much.
They instantly, intuitively know that they're going to be asked to be in a viral video.
Jesse, what are you playing this week?
Oh man, I mean, Weird West on the 31st.
Yes.
So that'll be my weekend probably. But I'm going to get my first professional massage on Friday.
Whoa! Oh, wow! So how professional are we talking?
No happy ending. Just a regular old good massage. Yeah, I've never gotten that before, so So that'll be nice.
How's your back?
I mean, fine, but I've just,
good.
It's been an interesting couple weeks. So,
Yeah,
Cassie got that for me to say thanks.
Oh,
Mom was
that's
in the
awesome.
hospital yesterday.
really? Shit,
yeah, I
yeah.
had a weird pain, but she's okay. She's out. She's just, It's been a weird couple weeks. So it'll be nice to have, some Marvin Gaye playing. Maybe not Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
Maybe something else. While a stranger touches my body, it'll be great.
Well, you don't want to, speaking of as the fireman of Sex Town here,
of this town,
Sexy Town, or you don't want to introduce the element of arousal in a massage situation, perhaps. Just think a lot about, what was the last in Paris used to say? Maggie Thatcher naked on a hot day.
Oh yeah.
The question about the massages is that you go in and you're like, they're like, oh yeah, just undress and go to, and then you're like, do I keep my boxers on?
Yeah,
it's like it's a very ambiguous situation. I don't know. I always keep my boxers on, but then I feel like I'm like a puritanical, like I'm like a reverend who's like, yeah, I can't. Don't even look at me. Turn all the lights off. Just like find your way to me via echolocation.
When I was in that the hot springs in Saline Valley, I was talking to you about in Death Valley. That is a clothing optional scenario, which is fine for me. I went to Catholic boys' school, so I'm more than used to being in massive showers with dozens of other naked men and boys. So it's like, sure, no worries. But for a second, I had taken off my clothes with such ease that I was a little bit worried that everyone else, as I walked up, was wearing their boxers or swimsuits or something. I sort of just assumed, and I was walking towards, I was like, wait, are you sure this is naturalist place? You haven't just like stripped down and there's a bunch of strangers looking at your junk right now and you're the weirdo? But no, there was a lot of hanging dong and other parts in there. So
it sounds like a good time. That's like there's a swimming spot that I really like in Central California by this river, and every time I go there, it's by this little hippie town, and every time you go there, it's just like walking into the 70s. It's just like a bunch of like a naked hippie woman and all her naked children frolicking at a picnic. And
good
like,
stuff.
It's another world out there.
Baker Beach I used to go to when I lived near the Presidio in San Francisco, and that is famously the sort of Golden Gate Bridge end of it is the gay nudist beach.
Really?
It's nudist, but it's also like has historically been where I don't know if there was a straight nudist beach anywhere or if it was just the nudist beach, but it was also where all the gay community would congregate. So I used to walk down there a bunch and walk down the beach. And one day I was talking about being on Baker Beach, and I won't say who it was just in case, but one of our good friends and colleagues from GameSpot was like, oh, you must have, I was just there. Who would have been naked. So, and I know he just moved to, I think I was moved there. So the idea of like running into a colleague naked on the gay beach, I thought was would have been quite funny, but I don't want to be telling, I don't know. I'm sure he's totally fine with people knowing that he likes to bathe naked in places, but I won't, it's not my place to say, but anyway. Yeah, that was a nice introduction to the awesome world of San Francisco culture.
Oh, yeah, where I grew up in Massachusetts, there's not a lot of naked sunbathing. I would say it's definitely you can't even say hi to people on the subway without people looking at you funny.
Also, water's not that warm.
Huh?
Yeah. No, you definitely don't. It's not flattering to be. They got the Polar Bear Club where people jump in the the bay where it's freezing cold, and it's hard to. You
come out naked. I was in the pool.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very George Costanza situation.
Thanks so much, everyone, for listening. If you'd like to support the podcast, fund our documentaries, and get access to all the bonus episodes and the official Discord, you can do so at patreon.com/Noclip. We were going to do this as a patron exclusive podcast, but I was badly organizing things. So I said, all right, let's put this up public. But in general, if you see a podcast missing once a month, it's because that's for patrons. We sort of did a little bit of a rejigging of the patron stuff. Noclip Crew is also going to change the patron stuff because we're going to have stuff going up there that will have extended cuts up for patrons. And we're having our first production meeting in a couple of months on Sunday as well, which is pretty cool because we haven't done that with those people because I was out of the country and dealing with stuff and yada, yada, yada. And we should have a really fun update for those people on Sunday too. So follow us on our spam world on @NoclipVideo, @Danny O'Dwyer, @Garasha, @Frank Kelly, @Jeremy B. Jane. Watch our free docs on youtube.com/NoclipVideo. Watch our new channel on youtube.com/NoclipCrewVideo. And stick a review on this podcast, maybe, and you might win a prize. Because anything is possible in the world. No, we're not doing that. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Oh, sure. Me neither, yes. Yeah,
you should give us a review.
At some point, you might get something for free if you
might
give
get
us
a prize.
Review.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, our prize is the favor of the gods, which may then cascade into a prize that someone else gives you.
The possibility space is endless. And also, if you don't give us a review, you may also win a prize.
But less likely. Much less likely.
I don't know if the FCC might maybe as likely, but but who knows? Ambiguity. Thanks for listening. See you next time.